Hello, welcome. It's that time again. It's time to chop my Philodendron Splendid. You can't really see like the very top leaves. I'm going to show you it in full. I'm excited to chop her. It's time. Today is the day. I've already chopped her once already and I filmed that. So I will link that video up here if you want to see the first chop. She climbed so fast. I chopped her earlier this year. I don't remember exactly when, I'll have to look back. She's got a few nodes like well beyond the top of the pole, and yeah, it's time to chop. She's getting too tall. My plan is to chop her in half and move that very top section back down to the bottom and then add an extension on top. So we're gonna see how it goes. Hopefully it'll be smooth and it won't take me too long to do today. Usually my pole chops take like, I don't know, 3-4 hours. It depends on what's going on, and that's like with filming and battery change outs and everything. So if I wasn't filming, I could probably do it a lot quicker. I love Philodendron Splendid. It is such an easygoing philo. It's a cross between a varicosum and a melanochrysum. And I have both of those plants, and this one's a lot easier to care for in my experience. It's not finicky, it loves climbing, super fast grower, and obviously it's just, my goal is to keep getting bigger leaves. I don't know how much bigger I want them to get. After this chop, I'm gonna see what she looks like when she goes to the top of the new pole extension that I'm about to do. And I'm gonna see how it goes. So yes, I'm gonna give you a closer look at her here, and we're gonna get started right away on chopping her. Here is the gorgeous plant. She's been climbing for 1.5 years now. I put her on a pole of May of 2022. And I chopped her for the first time earlier this year. And yeah, we're getting ready to chop again. Look at the largest leaf. I'm honestly surprised it's sized up because, as you can see, she is not rooting into anything. The last probably roots I have in the actual pole are probably here. And yeah, this one is not rooting. And that one is not rooting, but you can see all those crazy aerials that are forming in the air from humidity and stuff. You don't really get to see the backside of leaves that often because I feel like they're always facing one direction, but I think the backside of plants are so cool to see. And some plant leaves have beautiful backings. Another look at these top leaves. So yeah, I'm gonna grab my shears and supplies and just start taking the pole apart and seeing what we're gonna do with it. I'm trying to decide where I wanna chop her. I normally chop where the poles meet, but I kinda wanna chop a little bit more than that. Because right where the poles meet, I have a node that's in the way. So I won't be able to break the pole apart without cutting roots off. And the bottom node is what you technically replant in the soil, so you want some sort of root system intact in a way. So I could chop above. I'm losing this gorgeous leaf though if I do that. But then this one is kind of damaged and I don't really like this leaf. So I'm like, if I chop above this one, I would be chopping here, which only leaves 1, 2, 3, which only leaves 4 nodes with roots. The thing is like you don't want to chop too much. You don't want to chop too less away, if that makes sense, because you want more roots. The more roots you have, the more the plant can sustain all the leaves that it has. So if I were to cut like up here, it may not do as well as if I cut further down, if that makes sense. Because the further down I chop, the more roots it has and the less likely it'll shock. This is just a tough decision. I think it's just so massive up there. I just don't know what to do. I feel like if I chop higher up, it's going to shock more. So I feel like the safest bet is to cut where the two poles meet. But that's just not a lot of distance. You know, I'm literally going to be extending just like, I would literally have to extend it again if I did that. That's what I'm struggling with right now. I'm struggling where to chop her. Okay, I think what I'll do is I'll buy myself one more node. So normally I chop here where the poles meet. I'm gonna chop above this one and chop, this will be like the very bottom leaf. That'll buy me one more node. I think having one more node will be okay, but only time will tell. Okay, so it's a little bit of a darker, gloomy day. So I saw in the forecast it might rain, which is kind of crazy. It hasn't rained in a while, so it's a little bit gloomy. All right, so we are gonna chop below this node right here on the vine. We're gonna chop below the tape, like right here, because that's the node that's gonna be planted into the soil, so we're gonna chop below here. I've already cleaned my shears with alcohol. Here goes nothing. I'm nervous to chop this time. I guess maybe it's been a while since I chopped. I'm nervous. Why am I so nervous? Oh. I'm sorry. She has officially been cut. So instead of trying to take this section, all the moss out, messing with roots, and planting this back to the bottom, it's less stressful for me to do that to the bottom growth because I care more about the top growth. So I will be planting this top half into this pot, and then I'll just take this section out and try and stuff it in here like I did my Marble Queen, because again, like I'd rather this section stress more than this top section. All right, I need to get my wire cutters, and we're gonna cut the wire pole all the way across and remove the stake, and then we should hopefully be able to pull this right off. There might be some roots that kind of grow up and down here, so we do have to break a little bit of the root system, but I want to try and salvage as much roots as possible because this is going to be planted in the soil, like once you remove some moss out of here. Oh, perfect. Ah, she's been chopped. This will be our new bottom half, these huge leaves. I'll probably end up Anchoring some of these leaves on a bit more so that they're not like super wide like I've done here with the elastic, because that one needs to be like anchored a little bit more. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is, I don't have to plant this right away because there's plenty of roots in the moss to like support the plant because this is hydrated. I will have to take, you know, like I normally do, moss like from that part down so that I can fill with soil and replant this in the bottom. But before I plant this, I might try and connect this into this. And so what I'm going to try and do is open this pole up from the back. I'm going to have to sit this on something though. I just don't want to damage the leaves. And then I'm going to try and like squeeze the moss to one side so that I can insert the vine, this vine on the side here to let it continue growing with the plant. So this is our bottom half and all the crazy roots that have grown out of the pot. Now this is all new roots that have grown in from the bottom node from when I chopped it the first time, because this was at the top of the plant at one point and you know, the new top half gets to be the bottom every time. So these leaves are very pretty. I do want to keep these leaves. These little ones not so much. Like I'll probably I actually will probably just propagate this little vine up because that's not going to grow on the plant, this little one I added. And then I'll probably keep the leaves from like maybe here up. So I'll keep like one vine to do. And then I'll just propagate the rest of this little bit up. Since the plant and root system has been growing in here for however long, I normally start with like a fresh base and I don't keep any of this root system. Now I totally could add a new extension onto this one and let this one continue growing as is and just repot the base. It's really up to you and what you want to do with the pole. You can either just keep the top or try and do what I'm going to do and salvage as much of this as I can to make a fuller plant. And I just find taking it apart and doing it this way has worked for me. I don't know if I'll continue to do it this way, but I'll probably continue to do it this way, and then eventually, who knows what my plans are for the future. But I do want this part connected into this part as like two vines growing. I moved you a little bit further away so you can kind of see more what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm just kind of opening this up and going to try and remove this plant out of here. I'm going to cut this vine below this node here, and actually I'll keep this bottom leaf. We'll cut below this bottom one here. Let that callus, and then I'm going to cut away the base here. So here's our other section. I just cut away the base so I could have an easier situation to work with. And then, like I said, we're just gonna propagate this up individually, and then I'll probably get rid of those. So yeah, this is like our top half that we are going to have to extend. We're going to use that pole, I think, to extend it, unless I make a new pole that's a little bit taller. And then, yeah, we're going to be taking this out next and plucking it into the side here, and then replant and extend. So this is the bottom section. I have pretty much all the moss I could get off. That's the root system that was inside the pole on the bottom section. Honestly, not as many roots as I was thinking that were in there, but each node is pretty rooted. So before I like pluck this out, so the hard thing is like trying to get this through one of these little holes in the top section. So what I was thinking was cutting like a little window out, like a little 4 section, and stuffing the roots through that way, because I feel like having little window sections in my pole won't make like too much of a difference. Normally I try to stuff all these through the one little hole and it never really fits right, and so I feel like if I do 4 little window sections, it'll fit better. That's what I'm going to try and do for this one. I was just thinking of a better way as I was taking the moss out. So this top section, I'm going to open it up from the back, and then I'm going to do it right on the side here. So like I'll cut away 4 little window sections where the node is going to line up, and that way I can kind of move some of the moss away with my finger and stuff the root system in here. And I think it'll still work if I do it that way. I think the pole will still be steady enough if I do that. So that is the plan. Do I even need to open her up? I think I will. I can always zip tie it shut again. Okay, what side do I want to put the cutting on? I think I want to put it on this side. So, let's see. Try and lay the leaves down so that I don't hurt them. Let me take these nodes out. Just see what we're working with here. I'm trying to hurry too because I don't want these moss roots to dry, because then it's going to shock this plant. Okay, so this bottom node is going to be going in the soil, so I want to cut a little window right here at the bottom. So I'm basically cutting this wire away. See, I created like a little window. I hope that made sense. Right here, I just cut the wire away and I want to feed the roots through there to hopefully make it a little bit wider. So I can get it through a little bit easier. Left it a little pokey. Okay. So this node is going in here, stuffing it right in there. And then what I'll do is stuff a little bit of extra moss in there to help. I'm gonna need my pins or clips to secure this vine so that it doesn't come like right out, especially now that I have that little like gap, that little window gap. I'm gonna need to secure that. I'll probably end up using Velcro, especially as the vine gets thicker, but since I have these little orchid clips, I'm just gonna clip the vine onto the pole so that that doesn't come immediately out until it actually starts adhering in there. I hope that made sense what I was doing. So this next section, I have quite a bit of roots here to kind of gather and stuff through here. So again, where the vine is meeting up on the pole, the node here, I'm going to cut a little window out. And this makes it so much easier to slide it in here. So just like a little plus sign is what I'm cutting away. Like that, I cut that piece away. So that's what I'm cutting away, and it leaves like a little square window. And now I can just like stuff all these roots in here a little bit easier. And I have the pole open from the back so that I can easily kind of help lift it up so I can grab all these through and add them in. I need to order more clips. All right, so I got 2 done. And once I actually zip tie this up in the back again, it'll tie it up better, like it'll secure it better. It's really hard to see because the plant leaves and everything are so dark. But I'll kind of show you up close at the end once I get all these through here. There's so many leaves. I'm definitely gonna have to secure this with Velcro because it's wanting to come out. Okay, one more left. I think it's gonna work, guys. I just have to secure it with Velcro. I know you can't really see anything right now, but it's really hard to show you because it's so dark. I like this way so much better. It's better than trying to stuff it through one node. I don't know why I never thought about cutting it before. So I'm gonna work on zip tying this back up real quick, and then I'll secure this with some Velcro, and then yeah, we'll get to potting this base up and extending it and finish up here, but I'll show you up close once I finish zip tying this. She's standing up on her own. Trying to decide if this wire that I removed the bottom from is going to be tall enough, or if I should get some new wire. The amount of sphagnum moss everywhere. Okay, so I have to take moss out of the bottom from like here down so I can fill with soil. I just was like cutting away making like a little square, a little window, and then I could stuff the node through. And I added a little bit of moss in there to help adhere the roots to the actual moss that's already in the pole, if that makes sense. It's really hard to explain. So I did that. I created that little window for each node that I kind of secured in. Here is the mess. It's been about an hour later. It's just taken me a while to do everything. I made my new pole up, so I have that ready to go. And I just got through taking the moss out of the bottom section of the pole right there so I can fill that with soil. And I have my pot that I washed out. So yeah, I'm gonna plant it up first and then add the extension. And then we'll get to like fixing the vines and everything. I have moss everywhere, and then I keep tracking it. I'm gonna have to vacuum. So yeah, I'm gonna set the camera up and then we'll get to finishing up here. It really is just crazy how long this process takes. And again, I think it's just the chopping, and if you have to make a pole and then adding a vine in, it definitely takes a while. And then like after you're finished, you have to clean your mess up, which takes like another hour. It really is an all-day project for one little pole chop. I'm adding a couple zip ties on the bottom of this with one hand because we had opened it up a little bit to insert those nodes through. I'm honestly impressed I'm zip tying this with one hand. Ugh, okay, we are ready. We need our soil mixes. Oh my gosh. Okay. Ooh, this is dangerous. Oh shoot. Oh my gosh, this is such a mess. I didn't love these big leaves so much. I would not do moss pulse. I'm gonna add some of this wet dirt back in here just because I had watered nematodes in. I'm gonna try and salvage a little bit of this. All right, so now it's time for the extension. I have a couple dried caterpillars here. I'm going to remove these. I feel like I've done this so many times, so I'll definitely link all of my moss pole content down below. I have over 30 videos in there where I think I've pretty much filmed every single chop I've ever done on my channel, or like with my plant collection. Zip tying them together. I didn't trust that it wouldn't fall. Okay, extra support. Zip tie. She's like leaning off that top node, and I feel like, yeah, she's going to be reaching the top of this again in no time. What I'll probably do is add a foot extension onto this when the time comes, because I am not chopping her anytime soon again. I need her heavy ceramic to support her, but until I do that, let me see if I can get these vines anchored on. I'm gonna use some plant Velcro. Ugh. Okay, let's fix the floppy vines. I don't like the green Velcro because it stands out, so once the nodes root, I'll remove them. Oh my gosh, I need to tie the vines up though, but look at her. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. That is craziness. Absolutely crazy. She's huge. I'm gonna get my little plastic elastic string that I use and anchor the vines up a little bit. Since these were growing, since this entire thing was growing off the pole, it's sort of, it's a little misshapen. So I'm gonna bring the vines up like that. I'll probably do a few of them and then I'll come back on and show you her one more time. This is what she looks like with her leaves tied. Doesn't it look so much better? I just use this like plastic, it's not wire, it's just very, it's like stretchy, bendy. This here is what it is. I get this off Amazon. It's just a little annoying to tie because it likes to come undone, but if you can get it to tie right, it like basically secures all the vines to the pole. I did it in several spots like there. I kind of did it all the way down, and I did it with this top one especially right here. So it just brings the leaf closer to the pole, so it makes it more compact and the leaves aren't like bending out and down, because I definitely need the space saver for one, and I like how it brings it closer to the pole. I didn't do this one though. I think this one's bugging me. Shoot, I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna fix that one. Yeah. And then I ended up cutting this bottom leaf off that was a little torn just because it was like sitting too low in the actual soil. So I just removed that one. She looks gorgeous now. Oh my gosh, this leaf is to die for. I couldn't really get to appreciate it because it was flying off the pole, but just looking at it now, the way that it looks is, she's beautiful. One of my definite top favorite philodendron for sure. So easygoing. It's crazy to think it's taken 2.5 years to get, or not 2.5 years, 1.5 years to get to this. So hopefully the vine here on the right will do okay. That's the one that I added in, and this is the main one here. So this one will take a little bit of time to reactivate growth. Actually here, that's the top part of where I cut. So it'll take a little bit of time to reactivate growth for this to continue climbing. But this one should push out hopefully soon. I feel like the main vine doesn't really shock too much. And again, it may initially take a little bit of a hit at first. After chopping, it might be a little bit smaller, but it should start to size up again. We don't have much room to work with, but I'm not going to add a foot extension on just yet because it needs to grow some new soil roots to stabilize the pole a bit more. It's a little bit wobbly just because it's a little top heavy and it needs some more support down here with roots holding the pole together and holding it up. So I don't want to add anything like heavier up top until that happens. So yeah, I'm gonna get this huge mess cleaned up. I keep stepping on everything, and get her put back into my plant room, and then I'll show you her one last time what she looks like in her spot. And here she goes, back in her spot. This top leaf is huge. It's so big now that it's down lower and actually in front and center than how it was like all the way up here. Now that one's stressing me out. Glorious will have to be next. And then I think, yeah, it'll be 1, 2, and Dubia, 3, 4. 4 more chops to do coming up. So I'm glad I got one done. But yeah, they grow so fast. I'll definitely add like a foot extension on before I chop again. But it looks good. Hopefully it doesn't shock too much. I have it front and center. I would say the grow light's like 2 feet away from it. I backed it away a little bit. I'm trying to get some good light to my golden down here. That majestic leaf is absolutely crazy. I think it'll do well. It did well the first time, so I'm excited to let it continue climbing and growing bigger, hopefully. I like how I was saying earlier, I don't know how much bigger I want some of these plants to get, but I'm happy with the progress that a lot of them are making. Luna just jumped up here. Hi. Yeah. Big yawn. Yeah, that's a big yawn. Yeah. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. And I think the square window thing, opening that up, it's a lot easier to insert a node in. That's what I did different this time. So I'm definitely going to do that again. It was 10 times easier and you don't have to like squish the roots and all of that. So I hope it was like easy to understand. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will talk to you guys again soon.